a lot of great things happening in Tampa Bay right now. The tech scene is booming. 100 people a day are moving to the Tampa Bay area. We have low crime rates. Unfortunately, housing affordability is not one of those good things. What is housing affordability? Affordable housing is the ability to keep your monthly housing obligations, either your rent or your mortgage, under 30% of your monthly income. For Tampa Bay, that's about $1,300 a month. Now, what is affordable housing? Most of you, when you think of affordable housing, you think of a building that looks like this, some underfunded, undermanaged, government-controlled high-rise in a bad part of town. That's not what affordable housing is today. Today, 61% of zip codes in Hillsborough County are considered unaffordable for home renters and home buyers. If nearly 2/3 of our neighborhoods are considered unaffordable for the average homeowner, we have a problem. Now, I'd like to present some solutions to that problem, and they fit into two big buckets. The first is to increase incomes for families and households. The second is to reduce the cost of housing. Ideally, we can do both at the same time. Now, we can take those two big buckets and break them down into 12 smaller, actionable items that each one of us can do in our daily lives and have a meaningful impact in that. What can we do? Well, here are those 12 steps. We can help home builders reduce the cost of housing by encouraging our local lawmakers to reduce or eliminate locally imposed impact fees. And we can encourage the federal government to reduce or eliminate tariffs on construction materials. We can help our local lawmakers increase the density for housing zoning. When you have greater density for housing zoning, you have more homes on the same amount of land. More homes on the same amount of land equals less housing costs for everybody. Talk to your neighbors. Say hello. Chat with them. Grab a beer with them. Oppose NIMBYism, that ugly and contagious disease of not in my backyard. If you welcome your neighbors, you'll have a more diverse neighborhood and a less expensive neighborhood. Encourage our local lawmakers to promote alternative forms of housing, things like tiny homes, things like ADUs, things like container homes. Not everybody needs a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a white picket fence around it anymore. We need to encourage companies to create more high-skilled, high-wage jobs right here in Tampa Bay. The more income that you have in your pockets, the more money you have to spend on housing. We also should promote and encourage our state legislatures to promote workforce development programs and apprenticeship programs. The better and more blue-collar workers we have, the less expensive our housing costs will be, and the more money they have to spend on their housing needs. We should encourage organizations and communities to promote down payment assistance programs. Or better yet, we should encourage our state reps to stop sweeping hundreds of millions of dollars every year out of the affordable housing trust funds. Nearly every minority group in the United States experiences higher rates of rejection on applications and has higher interest rates on their mortgages. This doesn't need to be. We can fix this. Everybody's money is the same color. We should encourage more people to take public transportation. More ridership equals more routes. When you have more routes, you have greater housing density. And when you have greater housing density, you overall reduce your cost of housing. And this is my favorite one. Encourage every millennial that you know to get married. Seriously. When you have 2 income-producing adults in a household, it's way easier to buy a house than it is when you have just one single person trying to afford a home. More household income means more money to spend on housing. We should encourage the use of public spaces. Public spaces promote community well-being. They encourage the use of public transportation, and they decrease NIMBYism. All of these things lead to lower housing costs. And finally, there are over 250,000 homeless people in the United States every single year that are children, veterans, or members of family. We need to take care of the most vulnerable people in our population if we really want to take the housing issue seriously. Now, you don't have to fight this good fight all by yourself. I'm certainly not doing it all by myself. There are some great organizations here locally that are currently doing something and will continue to do something to help with the affordable housing crisis. I encourage you to get involved with one of those organizations. Look, I grew up here in Tampa. My wife grew up here in Tampa. Our kids are going to grow up here in Tampa, and we want them to live in a community that supports affordable housing. Please connect with me, because together we can make Tampa Bay a more affordable and better place to live. Thank you.